Hi out there, it's me, Katie Liz again. I have made a lot of progress this week. If you watched my last video, you know all about the progress that happened back here. I just wanted to kind of recap what I have learned this week. And it's still from Pick Up Lime's videos. I think I mentioned before that she had a beginner's guide to minimalism video, which I had watched, and I also watched a Habits for a Clean Home. And then this last week I also watched a video on multitasking and how multitasking actually hinders us to do our best. And so I've been focusing on those things quite a bit. I've learned some valuable lessons over the past few days, kind of the ways in which I sabotage myself. What I want to do is make it a lifestyle. And the way that I live now is a cycle of the house getting cluttered and messy, and me getting really stressed out about it, and then doing this massive cleaning like you saw in my last video. That's typical. I do that a few times a year in several different areas of the house. It piles up with clutter. I go through and I get rid of a bunch of stuff. I've done my books many times, but I'm not daily decluttering. I'm not daily working on it, and so it just piles up again. I get stressed again, and then I do the whole cleaning thing again. When a person is trying to lose weight, they say losing 1 to 2 pounds a week is optimal to make small changes in your diet and the activity level that you do, and manageable things rather than crash dieting for a week and losing a bunch of weight, and you can't keep up that lifestyle, and so it doesn't do you any good. So you do this yo-yo dieting where you gain weight and lose weight, gain weight and lose weight, and the house is kind of the same thing. And so I thought, I need to chew on these lessons that I learn throughout the week. Keep it down to 1 to 2 pounds. How can I make that make sense? So a couple ways in which I sabotage myself, a couple of habits to try to form, a couple topics, just a couple of things. After I watched her multitasking video, I noticed something about myself that I hadn't really connected with the way that I clean. I find cleaning stressful because I don't like the clutter, and of course the clutter is stressful for me, but there's another thing about the cleaning that makes it very stressful for me, and that is that I'm all over the place. And that was something Marie Kondo said too, is to focus on a category. And I noticed when I was going through this corner of the room and I was cleaning out my desk, I would get distracted when I was cleaning out my desk by something that I needed to organize. It really, really helped for me to go, okay, no, we're not decluttering memorabilia right now, and to take the memorabilia item and set it aside somewhere and say, I'm going to deal with that later. And then I didn't get off on these rabbit trails and rearranging the room too. I mean, I don't know how many times I turned around and set a book down on this chair behind me and thought, what would be the best place to put this chair? Maybe I should try moving it. Before I was done decluttering the desk, and I had to stop and remind myself, this isn't the most efficient way to do this. Finish the task at hand. Finish the task at hand first. Finish decluttering the desk, and then move on to the next item. Make a list. I've been making a list of things that I need to get done, and I don't move on to the next thing on the list until I have crossed off. Then I can move on to the next thing. It really, really is revolutionary to me. The level of stress that I feel while I'm cleaning is so far reduced. I don't know why I haven't discovered this in the past. Multitasking doesn't work for me. Some people can really multitask, but something that I have discovered, and there's no way around it at work. Nursing, you have to multitask. I maybe picked the worst job you could possibly have if you're not good at multitasking. I have to force myself to do it at work and to do it safely and efficiently. But at home, there's no one forcing me to do that. I don't have to do that at home. And life overall is more stressful when I have to multitask and stretch my brain in that uncomfortable manner at work, and then I come home and I do it to myself at home too. So that has been a very profound thing that I've learned about myself this week. Another thing that she talks about in her video on Beginner's Guide to Minimalism, she said something about taking time for self-care. And so I really did a lot of reflection on what self-care really means. My downfall as well when it comes to cleaning is what actions I use for supposed self-care when I get home from work and I'm tired. Grab my phone, turn on the TV, get myself a snack, and I tell myself every day, I'm only going to sit here for a few minutes, and then I'm going to get up and do the things that I planned to do when I got home. And it never fails that I don't get up off of that couch. I maybe get up and do a few very small things, but typically my habit during the work week has been to work at work and do absolutely nothing at home. And really, is that self-care? It's not. It's really not self-care. It's self-destruction is what it is. We think we're taking time to just rest ourselves, but in reality, we're wearing ourselves out by not getting the things done that we need to get done. And I think we all know that feeling. And so I have been trying to come up with some actual self-cares that I could do to help myself relax for a little bit when I get home from work. So that's one of the things that I'm going to work on over the next week. Three other minor habit changes that our entire family has decided that we're going to work on, or I suggested that we all work on. Fairly easy things. She said a couple of things in her Habits of a Clean Home that are small but huge things that would make a really big difference if we did them. I have this chest in the hallway upstairs. I emptied that out and I decided to use it as a donation box. And so all of us throughout the day, every day, if we put on an article of clothing that we don't enjoy and don't think we want to keep anymore, it doesn't fit us anymore, it goes directly into that. Or an item that we see around that we're like, I never use that anymore. It goes in there. And when that's full, we take it all, gather it together, and take it somewhere. The other thing that she said that was a really good habit to get into was to never leave the room without taking something with you. And so we are going to try to help each other do that. And my husband and I had a mail slot. It was a box on the side of the wall that was intended to help us organize our mail, but typically what we did was we got mail, we shoved it in there, and it just piled up and got messy. And that was another stressor for me, is every day looking at this thing full of mail and it's spilling over and possibly going to fall on the floor. And now this is another thing that I have to go through all of this mail and throw this away and shred this. And I asked my husband, I said, can we just, when we get the mail that day, take that mail of that day and do what needs to be done with it that day? And I went through all of that mail and cleaned that out for the last time, took it off the wall, and am selling it to someone else. I think that's about it. On a side note, I think next week I might have some interesting things to talk about when it comes to habits. The nail biting habit. Not nails, I don't bite my nails, but I pick at the skin around my nails, and I pick at the dry patches on my lips. And it's a nervous habit. I need to stop. Working in a hospital especially is so bad to do that. And so I have found an interesting tool from YouTube for that. But stay tuned. That will be something we will talk about next week. Because like I said, I want to chew on one thing at a time. Pickup lines is who I've focused on for last week and this week. And we'll move on to someone else next week.